amazing because all of us in this room are already damaged by virtue of living in human communities. We are burdened by ideology, and we're burdened by religion. So we don't really see reality anymore. We run everything through this screen. And if it doesn't conform, we get angry about it, or we just deny it. And am I saying that I'm not an Episcopalian? No, the accent is on the piss, but I am. but nonetheless, I know that it can blunt reality. No animal is ever slowed down by this. They just see things exactly as they are, and they cope with it exactly as it is. And the more removed we get from nature, the less realistic we are. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I mean, it's like, okay, when my mother was born in 1905, 10% of Americans lived in urban areas and 90% lived in farms or out in the country. I was born at the end of 1944, 50-50. Now it's 90-10. 90 in urban areas and suburbs, and only 10% of us are left in the country. So fewer and fewer people are able to utilize the wisdom of other sentient creatures. And if you think you're smarter than they are, you're not. Every animal on the face of the earth is a winner because the losers are extinct. So everything that has survived has learned to adapt and continues to adapt. So when you look at this, life begins to look a little different. And what we've done now is that we have so removed ourselves from the wisdom of other creatures that it's like we're in the spin cycle of a dryer. It's just human neurosis going faster and faster and faster. No cat is ever going to worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow just gets here when it gets here. They live eternally in the present. Does this mean they don't have memories? No, they have pretty good memories. Just open the door to where you keep the food. Horses have fabulous memories. I mean, they will remember for 20 or 30 years. I buried a dear friend of mine. He lived for 35 years, which is over half of my life. And he remembered everything, including the places where he had dumped me in the past. And whenever we get there, he'd sort of do the half hiney hump. Remember this place? Remember this place? At any rate, it's very funny. But they don't worry about tomorrow. We do. People are frantic. They'll talk about the bottom line. Your insurance agent, anybody running for office is going to play on that fear. And now the medical community is playing on that fear. You're 20 years old. Your cholesterol is going to go up when you're 40. For God's sakes, who the hell knows? You might be dead before you're 40. On the other hand, you might live past everybody else. But it's fear, 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 over and over. And that's what you're sold every day. Well, sooner or later, you hear it enough, you start to respond to it, you know? Your cat or dog could give a crap. Your cat does not care about your cholesterol level. Your cat does not care about the national debt. I mean, you got into this mess, you got to get out of it. The cats and dogs didn't get into it, right? But the reason Sneaky's running for president is she walked along and she began to talk to other animals. And she began to see that we're destroying the environment for everybody. So even though they did not make these laws, they did not create these institutions that are polluting the rivers, you name it, they're dying from it. So she says the only thing that can save us, of course, is a cat, because the cat's the only thing that's reasonable anymore. Now, the dog has a different attitude about this, obviously, so she's got her work cut out for her. But it was kind of fascinating for me, including when we started the mystery series, trying to see the world without my screens. For instance, what would, and I told the cat, she can't say this publicly, what is her plan for dealing with enemies? Kill them and eat them. Now, we used to do that once upon a time. And there are some humans that still do it, wherever they may be in other countries, but pretty much we've become tamer. They have not. Other creatures that we live with really have not. But they do know things we don't. Your dog. You have 10 million scent receptors in your nose. You have a little short nose, so the air can only go this far to warm up. So the way, I don't know if you know how scent works, but it hits this part right here, that part of your brain, and that's how you smell. Boom. Look how long a dog's muzzle is. All that warming up. So by the time it hits, it explodes. Same with a horse. Cats have pretty good senses too, but dogs have the best. The bloodhouse has the best nose in dogdom. The basset second, the foxhound third. But all dogs have about 110 million scent receptors. Cornell and Auburn have been arguing these last couple of years. One says, no, it's really 140 million. The other says, no, it's more. But at any rate, it's more than we can imagine. Why is this so wonderful? And why are we getting so off the ball? If you put your dog out on an acre, and it's not a drought. Let's say, it's just sort of a normal day in Delaware. It's been a normal month, if that's possible anymore. That dog will know every creature that crossed that acre, including insects. That dog will know what happened when two of those creatures, or a bird or an insect, collided. You could put a camera every 10 feet, you would never know what your dog knows. But people will see a dog with its nose down and say, oh, that dumb dog. No, that dog experiences reality in a rich way we cannot. And it can find things we cannot. It can find water in a drought long before you and I can, and it can smell anything that's buried up to 6 feet. I mean, down to 6 feet. So it's amazing what they can do. The other thing is, when we first domesticated animals, and we can argue about when that happened, who knows? It's like first they said, well, human beings are 100,000 years old. Now they say, or no, we're 150. Some people say, well, Neanderthal really was here with us. We all share the earth at the same time, and then we killed him. I don't know, it wasn't there. I'm just here now. I'm just trying to live. But we made a compact with the domesticated animals. You do this for me, and I will feed you and give you shelter. Now, we break the compact. The animal does not. Your local SPCA is filled with animals who never broke a thing. It was the human that broke the compact. So, what is one of the compacts that your dog has made? Your dog, I don't care if it's this big, is going to protect you. That is the dog's job. So you have your dog on a leash, right? And let's say your dog is fairly well behaved. You take it off the leash and you let the dog go. What does your dog do? Your dog runs ahead of you. Stops. Turns and looks at you. Why? Your dog is saying it's safe up to this point. Your dog is still doing its job. Your dog knows you can't possibly experience reality the way the dog does. The dog can smell an enemy. If somebody comes into your house and your dog doesn't like them, get rid of that person. I mean, that is the God's honest truth. Your dog smells an enemy. Your dog knows. Your dog knows when you're going to have a heart attack. Your dog knows when you're going to have an epileptic fit, as do most cats, as do horses. Your dog knows when you're dying. A human will get it much, much later. And if you are in danger physically, sign one, your dog is not going to leave your side. That dog is going to stick to you because the dog is saying, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem. And we don't see it. Again, we think we're superior to them. I would rather have my dog diagnose me than a doctor. Well, first of all, what are the doctors? They're pushers for the pharmaceuticals. The pharmaceutical companies, have you ever noticed ADD? Hey, when you went to school, did you ever hear ADD? Those kids got through too, didn't they?